What's going on, man? Welcome back to the basement. I'm Ron, and as you guys know, on this channel, we love Underdog because they are all money leagues, whether that's their $25 Best Ball Mania 3 tournament or that's just a $5 sit-and-go seasonal league. It all sets up so on this app, they have the sharpest ADP across all platforms. So there's real money on the line. You don't have ESPN mock drafts or you have kids hopping in there, drafting kickers in the 4th round, just, auto drafting the entire time. You get real sharp ADP. Also, a lot of sharp people are drafting in these leagues. I'm on Underdog if you want to consider me sharp, but you have other guys as well where you have Overzet, you have Sean Siegel, you have Bime4, you have, I would even put Eagles in that conversation. You have a lot of guys sharpening up the ADP, sharpening up the draft room. So I think one of the biggest edges you can get is by hopping on Underdog, obviously using promo code RON. When you sign up on there, they'll match your deposit all the way up to $100 when you use promo code RON. But what's even better than that is you can get a massive edge for your home league where you hop on Underdog, you get a feel for the ADP by just going into some contest, whether that's their Big Best Ball Mania 3 tournament, again, one of their sit-and-goes, and you can start to get a feel for Underdog ADP and find those values in your home fantasy leagues where Elijah Moore routinely goes 6th round and you're looking up and it's the 7th or 8th round in your home league and Elijah Moore is still there. Boom, you know to draft him. Same thing with a lot of the guys we're going to mention in this video because we're going to comb through ESPN, Yahoo, and Sleeper, cross-reference those ADPs with Underdog to find us the best values across every one of these websites. Today, we are going to be highlighting 10 players your dumb league mates are overlooking because ADP is going to be hiding them while we play on Underdog and we know the sharp players are pushing up certain profiles ahead of the rest. So with all that being said, if you enjoyed the video at any point, make sure you're down below, subscribe, leave a like. Let's go.
Thirsty, trying to choose. I know I'm critical. My nitty bag.
Now I'm going to be honest with you guys. This is my Michael Jordan flu game. My mom got me sick. It sucks. Thankfully, it's not COVID, but it's a summer flu cold thing. I've had a stuffy throat the past few days, fever, coughing all over the place. I streamed yesterday because I told you guys I'm not missing a day in August. I do not care. If you look up and the month says August, Ron Stewart, the YouTube channel, is putting up a video on that day. I do not care. But it does suck because I had my, you guys know the 0RB video did amazing last year. I was going to sit down today and upload a really thought out 0RB video, but I gotta be honest with you guys, just being sick and having headaches all the time, putting in really good research on a 0RB video, not super possible right now, just because, just gives me a headache. It's a lot. I'd rather put the time and effort into something like that when I'm feeling better. So I pushed that off and now we're coming out with this video today, which I think is still going to be good. So let's talk about Saquon Barkley up top. I was also streaming yesterday. I couldn't stop coughing yet. Man, it's so annoying. We'll see how long we can make it through today. But yeah, I wanted this to be a little bit shorter and sweeter. I just want to really key in on the values you can get on these players from leagues to league or from league to league without getting super into the weeds in terms of like micro player takes in this video. So we're not going to go super in depth on all these players. I'll even be honest. These aren't even all players that, like, this is by no means a must draft video. There's players on this video that I don't like on Underdog that I think are crazy values in these home leagues. Now, the first one we're going to talk about is Saquon Barkley, who goes at pick 15 on Underdog, which is about that 1-2 turn. And he is going pretty much at the 2-3 turn everywhere else. Where Sleeper, even on Sleeper, which I would consider Sleeper to be much sharper than ESPN and Yahoo, still not even there. 24, you have ESPN, he's going pick 28, Yahoo's going pick 24. Now, I want to say this little chart down here is a little bit loaded. So Underdog is just Underdog ADP, Sleeper is Sleeper ADP, ESPN is ESPN ADP, Yahoo is Yahoo ADP, and then VAL just means value. So how many picks of value are you getting from Sleeper ADP versus Underdog? So 24 minus 15 is 9, 28 minus 15 is 13, 24 minus 15 is 9. So you're getting the biggest value on ESPN where you can get him in the early 3rd, but even just getting him at that late 2nd price tag is pretty crazy on something like Sleeper or Yahoo. And with Saquon, we know he's now 2 years removed from an ACL injury. He's coming off an ankle sprain from last year. He's 25 years old. I don't think him having a bounce back is that crazy. It's not like he is old and Man, I planned for this to be a one-take Drake, but I don't think I'm going to be able to make it through without coughing all over the place. But yeah, Saquon Barkley, 25 years old, 2 years removed from an ACL tear, and your league mates are fading him due to that injury risk. But again, we're now 2 years removed from that ACL tear. He just had like a low-grade ankle sprain last year. He's 25 years old. He should be able to bounce back. He's a young enough player at this point that we shouldn't just write him off because of injury. We've seen him have 20-plus point per game upside before, and he's now in an offense with an actual play caller in Brian Daboll, as opposed to whatever mix of Joe Judge and Jason Garrett he has had in years past. So I think he's somebody we're taking at the 1-2 turn. If you can get him to slide back to the end of the second round, you can go out there and pair like Jonathan Taylor or Christian McCaffrey with Saquon Barkley as like a double hero RB build. I think that's money every time in a home league. Now, this next guy is a guy that I don't even like. Like, I don't find myself drafting Mike Williams at all, especially an underdog pick 30, which means that he's going mid-third, which is crazy. But on ESPN, Sleeper, and Yahoo, he goes the latest on Sleeper. He's a fifth-round pick, which is more than fine. And I think that the recurring theme here with these players is going to be if a player hurt the people, the general population, the year prior, then ADP is going to want to give them a huge penalty, to fade them. And with Mike Williams, he was actually a huge win last year, but I imagine people have like a sour taste in their mouth because he was so great for that first like 5-game stretch and then completely fell off a cliff. So I think that's probably why he's getting this penalty here. But he was the wide receiver 13 in points per game last year. And yes, he's had some like weird up and down stretches. But when we're talking about a fifth-round price tag, if Justin Herbert, he's on this trajectory where he is now, I think, like 31 touchdowns year one, 38 passing touchdowns year two. If we get a 45 to 50 touchdown passing season from Justin Herbert, he is going to be dragging Mike Williams to a wide receiver one season, whether he likes it or not. There's also a chance that like Keenan Allen takes a step back. So Mike Williams, like, again, at this price, like, I'm not drafting him in the third round. But when we're comparing Mike Williams in the fifth round to a lot of these other profiles, like a choice between Mike Williams and I guess like a fifth round and a redraft, like Zeke might be gone by then, Montgomery might be gone by then. Like if you're talking about Montgomery, Zeke, Josh Jacobs versus Mike Williams, that's a pretty easy 1v1 there. Now the next player we'll talk about is Courtland Sutton. You guys are going to see there's going to be a lot of wide receivers on this list, and we just see more value as we keep going. And this is Sutton, which is another guy that I'm not taking at all in underdog. I have like 2% exposure because the issue that I have is Judy is wide receiver 22 in ADP. Sutton is wide receiver 16. I don't know why the market is so short. I actually saw a really cool tweet the other day. I believe it was from Andrew Cooper that was shouting out Sutton's like Vegas over-under touchdowns and Judy's over-under touchdowns are, I want to say Judy is, in terms of Vegas market, is projected to out-yardage him and out-touchdown him on the season. Just something to think about when we're looking at these ADPs because Las Vegas kind of has a different way of calculating things than probably the fantasy community does. And the same thing with Sutton. He hurt me last year, so he's going to be cheap in ADP. Sleeper, like, I'm literally, like, I'm disappointed in Sleeper, man. I thought Sleeper would be sharper than this. 51, you're still getting him at, like, a 5th, 6th round price tag, and this is a pretty easy wide receiver to see break out. We've seen him have a pretty big target share in year 2. We now have him with Russell Wilson. We're getting him in the 5th, 6th round. He's a high A-dot wide receiver connected to Russell Wilson. His targets will be efficient because of high A-dot and because of touchdowns. It's really a no-brainer. He's like a top 24 wide receiver to me. I'll take that in the 5th, 6th round all day long. Man, just know I'm toughing this one out for you. That is now the second break that we've taken today talking on the microphone. Next guy we're going to talk about is not Travis Etienne. We're supposed to be talking about Marquise Brown, wherever he may be at. There he is. And Marquise Brown, I couldn't really tell you why he's mispriced. Underdog 42. Sleeper and ESPN kind of level-headed 59, 58. We're still getting, I mean, all of these guys are getting like a round plus discount. I really can't believe it. 17, 16. And the whole idea here is that your league mates are just going to be reading off of the ADP or the rankings, the default rankings on these websites. This is where they're going to probably be going in your home leagues. And with Hollywood Brown, my guess for why he kind of got a ding, or not, maybe not a ding, but why he's not a 4th round pick like he is on underdog, is I guess people were let down at the end of the season by Marquise Brown because he was so sick early on, and then he faded out into the abyss at the end of the season, but that really only happened because Lamar wasn't playing, and we saw a lot of Tyler Huntley down the stretch. Before that, with Lamar, if you just look at the split of Lamar, he was like a top 12 guy. We've seen Marquise Brown smash. He's had a 26% target share or better the last 2 years. He's going to be a wide receiver 1 on an offense tied to Kyler Murray, his college quarterback. And there's going to be no DeAndre Hopkins through 6 weeks. So it's pretty easy to see him smash. I know he had that like weird, it wasn't a DUI, but just like a speeding thing. I'm not super worried about it. It seems like it's going to be something similar to what Judy faced, where I guess you can kind of just seek bail and be fine. I don't know. But yeah, 4th round pick on Underdog. You can get him in the 5th round on ESPN, 5th round on Sleeper. On Yahoo, was that like 6th or 7th round? Just wild disrespect to Hollywood Brown. Now, the next guy we'll talk about here is Travis Etienne. And I think, in my eyes, Etienne at any point in the round 4 area is a smash. I have plans to really dig into Etienne. I know I haven't talked about Etienne a ton this year, but I love him. I've been trying to draft him a lot lately. We will dig into his profile in probably like a week or so. But when it comes to Etienne, he's an elite prospect with pass catching skills, home run ability, top end speed, connected with his college quarterback. We want access to that upside. He feels like Swift last year, but at a cheaper price point, where Swift, prior to like the injury concerns or whatever, Swift was a early 3rd guy, but then eventually he was like a 3-4 turn guy. So that's kind of what we're seeing with Etienne here. And on these sites, I want to say that the reason that he's a little bit more slept on in these home league sites is because he's not a known name at this point, and he redshirted last year, so it's really tough to say. But you're getting crazy value on ESPN. You're getting over around the value on Yahoo. Not that much value on Sleeper, but that's still it. He's at a spot where on Underdog he's a 3-4 turn pick. On Sleeper he's probably more of a 4-5 turn pick. So yeah, anywhere in the 4th round, I love Etienne. Now, next guy we'll talk about here is another guy that I don't even like. We'll talk about Allen Robinson here. And it's not even that I don't like him. Let me chill out on that, because I know a lot of people hate when I talk down on Allen Robinson. It's not even that. It's just pick 40 on Underdog is expensive, man. That's an early 4th round pick when I'm staring down guys like Judy, and I'm staring down guys like McLaurin, and I'm staring down Sutton, and I'm staring down even Waddle makes it to that area on Underdog. So he's around a lot of talented guys. But if I'm in a home league like Sleeper or Yahoo, and I want to say something. Your home league is definitely more likely to read off like ESPN and Sleeper and those rankings. I will say though, like if you hopped into like my Discord and you made a league with those guys, I don't think it would be as soft. Like I don't think that any draft on Sleeper is going to be this soft. But if you can kind of get yourself into a league with some casual people, I think you will. And like I've said, I didn't really like Allen Robinson on Underdog as an early 4th guy, but if I can hop into one of these drafts and get him at the 5-6 turn, I'd be all over that. His reception perception looked elite last year, even on a really bad down year where he had like, he wasn't even like a wide receiver 3. Like he was unstartable and you drafted him in the 4th round, but he was 81st percentile against man, 96th percentile against press. Reception perception would lead us to believe that he is still talented. Now he gets to catch passes from Matthew Stafford, who I believe threw 40-plus touchdowns last year. So it's a pretty easy calculation where with Woods gone, Allen Robinson kind of slide right in there, be a fine wide receiver 2. You were getting 39 picks of value on ESPN, 20-plus picks of value everywhere else, which is crazy. Now, the next guy we'll talk about, Gabe Davis, another guy that I'm not drafting a ton of, guys. His price has gotten crazy on Underdog. Some of that's because of the Bills stacks. People will get like Diggs early on, then they'll go Allen, then they'll go Gabe Davis, or they want to get the Bills-Bengals Week 17 correlation, so they'll go Chase, T, Josh Allen, Gabe Davis, something like that. I will say, though, I've been playing in those high-stakes leagues. You guys know we've done high-stakes live streams on this channel. On the NFFC, over on FFWC, on FFPC, the Boomers love Gabe Davis. Those guys are even drafting Gabe Davis in the 4th round. So it's pretty crazy to see that we're getting 30-plus picks of value on Sleeper, ESPN, and Yahoo, where ESPN is actually the level-headed one out of this group. I don't know how Sleeper has him at pick 82. I want to be out on Gabriel Davis, guys. But when we zoom out and just look at his profile, we know wide receivers break out in year 3. We saw Debo last year, Deontay and Marquise Brown all last year. Before that, we saw Calvin Ridley. Before that, we saw Chris Godwin. Wide receivers break out in year 3. His target share was low, and I know a lot of people cite his 10% target share, but when we zoom out, look at a per-round basis, he was commanding targets on a per-round basis like 18% of the time, whereas target share was 10%. But it's hard to take his target share seriously when his snap share was only like 50%. So he's only playing like half of the snaps. So him getting a 10% target share isn't fair to compare to somebody that has 100% route participation, because on a per route basis, they're actually getting only like a 10% per route run, whereas Gabriel Davis is out there like an 18% route run, which is just fine. So on a per route basis, he can earn targets. He's heading into year 3. It is weird to me that the more casual gamers aren't into Gabriel Davis here, where he had that huge playoff game, Chiefs versus Bills. It was this big spectacle, 4 touchdowns. Seems like the market doesn't care at all. So at this point, I would take him in the 5th round at any point in time, but on these platforms, you can get him anywhere in the 7th round. And the next guy we're going to talk about, Juju Smith-Schuster, going at pick 49 on Underdog, right at that 4-5 turn. And he can be had around pick 70-ish across Sleeper, ESPN, and Yahoo. And again, people just feel burned. I guess he hasn't lived up to expectations. Last year, he didn't. The year before that, he didn't. He hasn't really lived up to expectations since his 2nd year. I'll be honest with you guys. I'm starting to come around on Juju. He doesn't really have to do a ton. Like, he doesn't have to do as much as other people would have to for him to smash. He's going to be in a high-powered offense, top 5 pass attempts, top 5 yards, top 5 passing touchdowns. He is going to be the main slot wide receiver, and it's pretty easy to talk yourself into him having a similar season to 2019 Chris Godwin, or was it 2018? I think it was 2019, but he had like a 22% target share. Don't even need like a lion's share. Like, you don't even need like a 25% plus, but like a 22% target share, 9 touchdowns, flirting with like double-digit touchdowns. And I think that that's firmly in Juju's range. So I like him at the 4-5 turn. He can be had at the 6-7 turn on ESPN, Yahoo, and Sleeper. Now, the last 2 guys we're going to talk about here are, I think, the product of just year 2 uncertainty, which is great. We want to lean into that, where he goes in the 5th round on Underdog on ESPN. Pick 91, 37 picks of value. Sleeper, 77. Yahoo, 85. Even on Sleeper, he's mispriced, man. We know year 2 breakouts are great. Last year 2 breakouts weren't amazing. We had Claypool flop. We had Ayuk flop. We saw T. Higgins did great. CeeDee Lamb did pretty good. But it wasn't that usual explosion, where in 2020, we saw Deontay Johnson, Metcalf, A.J. Brown all break out in year 2. The year before that, you had Sutton, DJ Chark, DJ Moore, and Rashod Bateman is firmly in that area of potential breakouts. He flashed as a rookie with some really high target games. He looked good. He was a solid prospect. Now the Ravens trade away Hollywood Brown. And I'm not on the boat that he's just going to inherit all of Hollywood Brown's targets, but if he is a target earner, he has the ceiling to command like a 25% plus target share, which is interesting in that offense with Lamar Jackson throwing passes. We've seen fantasy relevant wide receiver with Marquise Brown next to Mark Andrews this entire time. So if Rashod Bateman is that guy and he is talented, it's not super difficult to see him be a top 15 to 20 wide receiver in 2022. Then we have our last wide receiver, who I can't stop talking about, and it's crazy the disrespect people are putting on this guy's name. Now, this isn't going to happen in my league because I'm from Jersey. Everybody in there are Jets fans. We love Elijah Moore. But in your home league, they're going to be sleeping on Elijah Moore, man. They're even sleeping in Sleeper. Like I said, I thought Sleeper was a little bit sharper than this. I was looking at their ADP. There's a lot of soft stuff to look at when it comes to ADP. So like I said, you can get him pick 65 on Underdog, but on ESPN, you can get him 36 picks past that, 24 past that on Sleeper. That's 2 rounds of value on Sleeper you're getting there. 34 picks of value on Yahoo. He was the wide receiver 28 in points per game as a rookie with an 18.6% target share. And again, he was the wide receiver 28 in points per game despite only having a 68.1% snap share in the games he played. He wasn't even a full-time wide receiver yet, and he was flirting with wide receiver 2 numbers. If we look at it on a per-route basis, he was like a 26% target per-route run guy. We can expect a pretty big jump if he is just simply a starting wide receiver. Not to mention, everybody's expecting this offense to be bottom 5 in the NFL. If the offense is just like 17th, you already win on that bet. If Zach Wilson takes a step forward, you win on that bet. If Elijah Moore just continues this trajectory, you already win that bet. So it's pretty crazy how much people are sleeping on Elijah Moore. If you want to say Jets this, Jets that, I mean, fine. Fade somebody for the decal on their helmet. That worked out really well when the Bengals were super shitty, and now they're really good. Same thing can be said about the Browns before, like kind of all this Deshaun stuff and everything. Bad teams don't stay bad forever. Now, just to kind of put a bow on this entire video, we'll look at the entire chart. This is the entire chart here where I went through and compared Underdog's ADP to Sleeper, ESPN, and Yahoo's ADP. And I got to be honest with you guys, if you're in a home league where you know people are going to adhere pretty closely to the pre-draft rankings or the pre-draft ADPs, for right now, I think the move is that because there's going to be so much value in rounds 3+ at wide receiver, I think the move is I don't like to force draft strategy, right? I talk about this in a lot of my draft strategy videos. I don't like to go into a draft with a set strategy. But I think in these softer home leagues where you know the wide receivers, like if you know Mike Williams is going to be on the board in the 5th round, then I think you should obviously not try and force it, right? If you're at pick 8 and Justin Jefferson gets there, then of course take Justin Jefferson. But where it makes sense, I think you should be trying to lean towards double hero RB, get the running backs early, and then rounds 3 on, rounds 4 on, let the wide receiver value come to you, let the tight end value come to you, and just go from there, because we're getting multiple round discounts on a lot of these wide receivers. 8 of these 10 players are wide receivers just because that's where all the value is right now. Now, if you guys like this video, let me know. This is something that I thought I could do. It wasn't going to be too hard for me to, while I'm sick, get this video figured out. Jeez, fellas. We're playing through injury right now. But if you guys want to see on the flip side of this, like players that are getting drafted too high, so a player that has like Mike Williams ADP of 30 on Underdog, but is going like pick 15 on Sleeper, we can look at it from the other end of players who are getting drafted too high in your home league. So this video does okay. If this video does like it does like 5,000 views, then we'll do that. Now that's gonna do it for us today. Sorry if this was a little bit lower quality. I told you guys, dealing with a little bit of sickness right now. I think by like Friday, or not Friday, today is Friday, but I think by Monday I should be good. We'll see. I think that what we're going to do is we'll do another video on Sunday, and we'll live stream on Saturday and Monday. And that'll be kind of how we get things figured out. And I think next week it'll be smooth sailing from there. I just got to rest up a little bit. But if you made it this far, I appreciate you. And as always, make sure you go down below, subscribe, and leave a like if you enjoyed. And I will see you guys in the next one.
I got the juice, I got the juice. 10-0, Chatham's on. Foolies glad I'm home. Even my haters kinda glad I'm on. Rest in peace to my vagabond. Rapper, song, singer, suspended, subpoena from Mr.